Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is McKenna. I am an indie author and here is where I like to talk about books and writing and stuff like that. So if you're here, thanks for tuning in. I'm so excited to celebrate with you the official 1-year anniversary of my debut book, Titan Academy. I can't believe it's been a year since this came out and I learned so much through this process that there's no other way I could have learned these things other than by doing it. And I'm going to share them with you today. But before we get there, a little about the book, I think. Titan Academy is a kind of Marvel meets Harry Potter sort of thing. If you like the movie Sky High, think Sky High. All right, it's a dual POV. Honor is one of our teachers and our professional superheroes, and Charlie, who is a first-year student at Titan Academy. And the question that the teachers beg the students the first year is, in a world where everyone has a superpower, what makes a superhero? And we learn with Charlie throughout the book. It's definitely linked down below. I'll leave the summary down below so you can check it out on your own time. Now, I want to show you guys some clips from the launch party that I had last year. I still can't believe that it's been a year. It's crazy, but roll film.
No time for leisure, more time to please you. Just getting started. Go while you leave it. When you gonna help yourself? I'll be breaking up the camera. When you gonna help yourself? I'll be breaking up the camera.
Hello everyone. Thank you to my mom, also known as my momager. Tonight would not have been possible without her. She made it look beautiful in here. And thank you to Ben and Daniel and the whole library team for helping me out, as well as Holly and the whole catering team. You guys have been super great, super awesome. I really appreciate it. And most of all, I want to thank all of you here tonight. It really means the world to me. You have no idea. Being a writer is the only thing I've ever wanted to be. Well, that's not quite true. I wanted to be a movie star cowgirl, and I haven't written that off quite yet, but after that, the only thing I ever wanted to be was a writer. I've been chasing this dream for as long as I can remember, and it's taken many shapes over the years, some with bigwig agents and million-dollar book deals and bidding wars, but I can honestly say there's no other way I would have rather done it. I did this for me, for my younger self, and it was with all the love and support in this room that I was able to do it at all. Thank you so much for supporting Titan Academy. And yes, I promise to sign every copy, as long as you guys promise not to sell them on eBay when my first editions are worth thousands. Titan Academy was a labor of pure love. After querying 3 separate finished novels and racking up over 100 rejections for each, I started writing Titan Academy, and I knew that this was going to be my debut novel. I've always wanted to write a superhero book. The first that I ever remember writing was in a blue 1/4-inch binder that I bought from the Yorba Linda Middle School store, and it was about a 6th grader who was a superhero and her classmates knew about it, but the substitute teacher did not. Spoiler alert, the substitute teacher was one of the villains and wouldn't let her leave to go help save the world. And how did this 6th grader get calls during school, you ask? Was it a bat signal? No. Was it over the office intercom? No. Was it a cell phone? Also no. This 6th grader had a pager in 2006. But then I went on to write other things, mostly fan fiction, some of it original ideas about shape-shifting dragons and monster hunters and everyone's favorite, werewolves. It wasn't until my dad took me to see the first Iron Man in theaters that superheroes really engraved themselves in my heart. I'd always been a fan, reading comics and watching the cartoons and whatnot, but seeing the first Iron Man in theaters, game changer. I started and stopped maybe a dozen superhero projects, some origin stories, some ensembles, and one that was suspiciously similar to The Amazing Spider-Man. Some of the characters in Titan Academy are main characters from projects long abandoned but never forgotten. Titan Academy itself is the Frankenstein story of sorts, because Honor and her sisters have been with me for a very long time. I tried to write the origins of Honor and her sisters and stalled out, so I put that on hold. Wrote other things, queried some of those things, got rejections for all of those things, and then came Titan Academy. Then it was all sunshine and rainbows and smooth sailing from there on out the end. No, I'm kidding. Titan Academy did not come easily, but I knew it was right, so I put pen to paper, stopped, realized I had written from the wrong point of view for 30,000 words, started over, started again. And then Charlie came into the picture, and then things really started to flow. Titan Academy itself is a book about pursuing your dreams. No matter how big or impossible, and despite what anyone else may say, at the end of the day, and at the root of all things, simply wanting something is more than enough reason to reach out and grab it. You don't always need a noble reason or an explanation deemed good enough by a jury of your peers. Your desire is enough. Your hopes and dreams are enough. You are enough. I hope you get out of this book some of what I put into it. Some of the love and hope and determination and grit. If you get even just a little, this book will have been a success. Thank you so much. I love you all.
So, some of the things I learned during my debut year. There are so many. Some of them were very hard lessons. Some of them seem obvious in retrospect, but I'm going to list some of them for you now. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I love answering questions because it makes it easier for me to give you guys what you want, what you need, what you're looking for. But the first thing I learned is promo is hard. I already knew that, kind of, but when you have the product, when you have the actual finished thing in your hand, and you're like, I need to convince people to pick this up. How do I do that? Who knows? All right. I'm just a single person. I'm just one little girl. All right. I am not a multi-million dollar company. I am not a marketing department. I didn't go to school for that. I was flying by the seat of my pants. I tried social media. I tried word of mouth. I tried talking to my local booksellers. I tried everything. And the worst part is, I can't even tell if it helped or not. It always feels like it's never enough because you can't directly tie results to it. So if I went viral on TikTok, but my book sales didn't spike, what does that mean? It means nothing. So promo is hard because there's no measuring stick. Like, you don't know what's working and what's not most of the time. And I know one of my favorite authors, Susan Denner, just wrote about this in her newsletter recently about how she quit social media because she was obsessed with the promo train, and she felt that if she wasn't out there promoting her own books, she was just going to disappear off the radar. But in reality, it was just taking away from the most important thing, which was her writing time in regards to her career, because obviously her family is her most important thing. But I digress. So I guess promo is still hard. I'm still playing around with it. I really like the idea of disappearing off of social media. Not completely, obviously. I am brainwashed with the rest of you, but I like not stressing about posting on TikTok and Instagram every day. I'm not a girly that wants to put out content every day. I don't think that's for me. I really do enjoy making these videos, but I only do this like 2 or 3 days a week. So it's not like I'm forced to be present and working 24/7. I will say I've been experimenting recently. I just made this cool promo vid. Let me know what you think. I actually had a lot of fun with that. I think video may be my new go-to for promotion, but we shall see. Another thing that I learned is to be okay with your friends and family not reading your book. Do I want them to read my book? Yes, absolutely. Am I so grateful and appreciative when they do read my book? Yes, 100%, absolutely. Especially when they leave reviews. But some of my closest friends and family haven't read the book, and that's not a reflection on their relationship with me. If this were a random book and they didn't know me personally and they just weren't interested in picking it up, that's okay. And I'm not going to hold them to a certain standard. I'm not going to force them to read a book they don't want to read because that's not enjoyable for them. And then because they didn't enjoy it, it's not enjoyable for me because they didn't like my book. But not because it's bad, because it's probably just not their taste, or they're not big readers or anything like that. So don't put too much pressure on yourself or your friends and family to read the book. They can support you in other ways. They can tell other people about the book. They can buy it and have you sign it, and you can just have them display it in a place of honor on their bookshelf or wherever they are, and buy merch for your books if you have merch. I don't know. There are just so many other ways that they can support you, whether it's a kind word, buying you food when you forget to eat because you're on a writing roll, anything like that. Your friends and families can support you in other ways, and they should support you. But reading the book isn't always how that support shows up, and you got to make peace with that. Okay, this is the big one. Reading reviews. Most people say don't do it, which I could agree with. I think it's a very slippery slope, especially if your mental fortitude is not up to snuff. Okay, people can be mean, but reviews are for readers. They're not for writers. Do they often contain constructive criticism that could help that writer in future endeavors? Yeah, absolutely. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the reader is not writing with the author in mind. Which also means stop tagging authors in reviews. All right? We're trying to make it a reader-only space, except if you tag authors in your reviews, especially if they're not good, you're inviting them into your house. You're inviting them in and going, hey, let me insult you to your face, and then expect them not to say anything or expect them not to get their feelings hurt, because they are real people. They're not just names on a cover, right? So stop tagging authors in reviews. Let's start there. I would agree with the advice to not read reviews. I, however, am built different. I've been writing and posting my writing online since I was 11 in live journal forums and fanfiction.net. Okay? I am no stranger to hate comments. None whatsoever. They don't bother me. Most of them I laugh at because they're funny to me, but I know better than to respond to them. The worst thing I do is I'm gonna take a screenshot and send it to my friends and talk about it with them. But I'm not gonna respond to this person because they're talking about their opinion online. And best case scenario is that I do learn something. Reviews can't really hurt me. I say that, but as of yet, Titan Academy has not received a single negative review. That may sound like I'm bragging, but it also just doesn't have very many reviews in general. I am anxiously awaiting the day where I get my first negative review, because I think that will be really exciting for me, because it'll mean that the book has broken containment. It has gotten out into the world and gotten to people who really don't care about my feelings. And I want to see what people think about it. I want a broader scope of opinion. Not that I don't super love the ones that adore Titan Academy. Hello, love you. Yeah. Reading reviews is not for the faint of heart, and if you don't do it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if you do it, like I do, proceed with caution. Be smart about it. Don't take it personally. Here's something that I get asked a lot, and it's, how much money do you make? I am a full-time writer. I don't say full-time author because my sole source of income is not from my book. I only have one out right now. And most authors don't start making livable wages off of royalties until they've got a huge catalog. And I'm not going to get super in-depth into it here. If you want me to, I can definitely make another video on that. So I supplement my income with other writing jobs for now. But the numbers that come from book sales, I will say I have stopped checking. The first few months, I checked like every single day. In December, when the book came out, numbers boomed because it's a debut. It's brand new. People are curious. They've been waiting for it. They want to see what it's about, blah, 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 all that good stuff. And then I have not hit those numbers again since. And so every single time I check after that, I just be disappointed. And then it's super demotivating because you're like, no one's buying my book. No one likes it. This is terrible. I'm a horrible writer. I should quit right now. And then you just spiral and spiral and spiral. So to avoid that, I just stopped checking sales altogether. I will say I am pretty happy with the amount that I do make currently. I know roughly what it is because I do see the deposit in my bank account, but I don't actually check the sales dashboard at all because it's just not good for me and my mental health and my process. So I stopped doing that, and honestly, I think it's helped a lot. Just releasing expectations of numbers completely. And the last thing I learned, which is probably almost definitely the most important thing that I learned, is actually something that I heard pre-debut. It was advice that I had seen authors give, and I am so glad that I took it to heart. The time before you publish your book is precious. I know that publishing is the goal, and once you achieve that goal, it's great. But once you achieve it, your relationship with writing will change forever, irrevocably. Not necessarily in a bad way, but you'll never be able to go back to how it was. It's heartbreaking kind of in the way that endings are always heartbreaking, but it's also really fucking exciting that the way new beginnings are. And this is something that I've struggled with this past year in the sense that now that my relationship is different with writing, I've had to figure it out. I went into this a little bit more in depth in my newsletter. I'll link that below if you want to read more. But if you are an aspiring author currently writing towards your goal of publishing a novel one day, please treasure it for what it is now. Because right now, it's for you, and it's only for you. And once you publish, you can never go back. And publishing is great. It's exciting. It's the goal. But I don't want you to look back on the time that you have right now, pre-debut, and regret not cherishing it while you had it. So take a moment, take some time today, tomorrow, at the beginning or end of your writing routine, and just be grateful for this thing that you love so much. Because I think it's easy for us to forget that not everybody has a thing that they love this much. And I know all writers do love this thing so much because without that love, it's basically impossible to do it. So I am so very glad that I did cherish that time while I had it, especially in the months leading up to my debut, because I knew change was on the horizon and I knew it was coming and I knew there was never any going back. And I can look back on that time without regret now. Now I'm figuring out my new relationship with writing. I'm still figuring it out. It's an ongoing process, all right? It has been a little bit of a difficult journey, which I can get into later. But for now, I'm sure this video is already far too long. So thank you for tuning in and watching all the way to the end. I would super appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content on writing and books and self-publishing. Anything you want to know, drop a question in the comments. Again, I love answering questions, so let me know. Extra super duper special thank you to anyone who has bought and read Titan Academy. This is my baby, and I am so very proud of myself for publishing. It's been a lifelong dream and goal of mine, and it still doesn't feel quite real that I made it happen, but I did make it happen. It's right here. Here's the proof. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye!